Hello guys, and today I'm going to show you an abandoned game, and I'm going to ask you to complete it. Now, it's currently mate in 2. Black takes the rook, and now there is only one move for white and one move for black. Can you complete this abandoned game to get checkmate? I'm going to give you 10 seconds to think. Right, we'll come back to that at the end of the game. I'm now going to show you the game from the beginning. I start with d4. I do my favourite move, h8, which nobody else likes. They've moved e4. I've moved a4. They've moved their knight. I've moved the pawn. They've moved the knight. And now I'm threatening their bishop. I'm also threatening their other bishop. They then castle. I'm not a fan of castling a lot of the time, and they're about to get pinned in. But it won't be checkmate in that corner. Now I've moved a pawn up. They've taken my bishop, but I don't actually take their bishop. Instead, I take their knight, because their bishop is lost anyway, realistically, no matter what they do. If they don't lose the bishop, they would lose the game. But they will. I'm going to show you why. If they move their bishop to safety, the next move is checkmate. I'd rather hope they would fall for it, but they didn't. They just instead decided to threaten a pawn. At this point, I did take their bishop. Now, I was threatening checkmate here, but they've spotted the way out and they did the right thing. Nowhere else for them to go. Check. And you'll notice in a minute I do essentially a rook sacrifice. And what they did was a very famous forking check in chess, where the knight moves to that square and then threatens both the king and the rook. The king has to move and then the rook is taken, but I'm not so bothered about that. I'm now going to do a bishop exchange. Check. Move out the way, check again. I could also have got them in check another way, but like that. But I didn't. I took the pawn. Now I've moved there. I'm not quite sure why I did that. Because I could have moved the knight there and then taken their queen. Check. Check again. I now move the rook up. Preparing for a possible checkmate. They then move the queen to offer a queen exchange instead. I ignore it. Check. The only way, in my view, for them to stop that would have been to have moved the rook or sacrifice the queen or the rook. But then they'd have lost their queen. Or sacrificed their queen. But then they would have lost their queen pretty much no matter what they did, but that wasn't what they did. Instead, they moved their king here. Then I took their rook. And we're now at the position where the game was abandoned, which I showed you at the very beginning of this video clip. Now, I asked you at the beginning of this clip if you could find the next two moves, the move by white and the move by black. There's only one valid move by white. And after that, there's only one move which will get checkmate. Can you find it? I'm going to give you 10 seconds. Okay. The only valid move that white could do is to sacrifice their queen and move their queen there. That is the only legal move. Then the only move which will get checkmate from black. Black could do lots of moves if they wanted to from here, but the only move black can do which will get checkmate is to take the queen. So essentially, if black played properly, then white had no choice but to sacrifice their queen. And now it's checkmate. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye!